Hello, Gems. Welcome to the VTuber Voices podcast. I'm your host, Syafire, and on this podcast, we like to talk about all things virtual, how to be a business owner and content creator who thrives and creates a sustainable business through content creation. On this episode, we're going to be talking with the lovely sea dragon creature, Sykana. We had a really great time with lots of jokes and just memes, so sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, grab some tea, whatever time of day it is by you, and enjoy the podcast. I'll see you over in the episode. Welcome to the VTuber Voices podcast, everyone. For those who don't know anything about the VTuber Voices podcast, this is a podcast where we talk about what it's like to be virtual, what it's like to be a VTuber, how to grow as a content creator, grow as your own business owner, and like this whole sort of explosion with VTuber stuff. So, because VTubing has been absolutely exploding lately, and there's been lots of new faces popping around, including Sykana. So, Sykana, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone?
So my name's Sykana, and I've been streaming here on Twitch for about a month now, almost 2 months.
Yes!
And I reached affiliate around after I hit 1 month. That's when I reached affiliate, and it was so exciting.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. Is there anything in particular that you did that you feel like really helped you reach affiliate so quickly?
I think what really helped is I stayed consistent and I stayed on schedule. I think that's really important. That way everybody that is following you can enter the stream and know when you're streaming. And a lot of the reason, another thing would be probably that I had a Discord for anyone to go into. That way they know like announcements if anything happened or a cancel stream for some reason, which I have done a few times because I needed to take care of myself. And I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think having a Discord has like helped me immensely with just keeping people up to date. It's like a really great place to have community hang out after and continue to like grow on top of what you already have.
Absolutely. It really helped me be able to connect with the people that are there, that be able to get to know them more and be able to communicate.
So Silver asks, any advice on running a Discord server for VTuber stuff?
Any advice? Definitely set up like what kind of advice are you looking for specifically?
If I was going to give like any advice on running a Discord server, I would say like just being active and like talking to the people that join. I'm kind of bad with this. I'm not super active, I feel like, in our Discord, but that's usually because it's no excuse that I'm busy, but like it's really important to make sure you're connecting with the people that are already there, Silver.
And a lot of the times it is because you're busy, and as you grow, you're not going to be able to have that time, that free time to be able to, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, and that's when you can choose like one day to dedicate to like I hang out with all of our Patreons for our patrons that know on Sundays, and you can do that for like reaching out to community in Discord. If you ever get like a little too busy, you can be like, oh, I'm like, my day for reaching out is going to be on Tuesdays or Wednesdays or Thursdays or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I agree. And it's hard sometimes, but once it, like, my community is like very wholesome. They're all supportive, and like the last stream I had, I almost canceled because I just wasn't feeling, I don't know what it was. I was just feeling very off, and then I decided, you know what, I might stream and see what happens. And that was probably the best decision I made. Everybody was just really sweet and supporting me in any way they possibly could, you know? And I even mentioned it, like I was thinking of not streaming that day, and I'm just really glad I did.
Yeah, absolutely. And know too, like, that it's totally normal to have those days where like you can't really put your finger on it when it like comes to creating a video or creating like or streaming, where you're just like, I just like my mental today is just like, I can't do this. Like, it's okay, and to realize when to take those breaks. And for me, like personally, sometimes I push myself through it anyways, but sometimes it really is important to just like not stream if you're not feeling it.
And sometimes it could, if you force yourself too much and you don't cancel those times that you think, oh, I don't feel that great, you could lead to burnout.
Yeah.
And you won't enjoy it anymore.
Absolutely. I totally agree. So just going like a little bit back, how did you get started with VTubing, Sykana, and what made you want to become a VTuber?
So I actually found, I don't know what it was, but I searched something. I believe that one of your videos popped up. I think it was how to become a VTuber or something like that. And then I joined your Twitch, and I wasn't really at that time time I was just more of interested on what it was, seeing like the curiosity of like what VTubing is, because I believe it was AI Angel that I first seen like anything related to VTubing. I just didn't know the term.
Yes.
And that was like a year ago, I believe.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, AI Angel is like next level. That's like some goals and like 3D stuff that I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
Super cool. So what made you choose, this is going off script, but what made you choose a 2D VTuber opposed to a 3D VTuber?
I feel like I think it's more of being able to be creative in a way that you can't particularly take into 3D. Like you have limitations in 3D, just like you do in limitations for 2D.
Yeah.
But I do plan on actually modeling my own 3D model of Sykana in the future. That way I can have both.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. And I've seen a lot of VTubers do a mix of both 2D and 3D now, even like the bigger VTubers. And I'm so glad that they are, because I think we should be utilizing both 2D and 3D for different things. And like, because I think that provides like more entertainment value to our audience to be able to switch up our models every once in a while.
Right. And like with 3D, you can have like tracking and be able to have your own room and do things like you were doing earlier and just kind of having fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And those who are listening to the podcast who weren't here earlier, I was playing Twister in my 3D room on Twitch. It was great. It was not great. It was kind of torture, but yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And I'm really, really glad. So again, going off script a little bit. So what inspired your specific design? Well, I guess this ties into question number 2, but does your VTuber have any lore, and like, how did you come up with this design?
So the first ever like model that I created was a fox, and I don't know what I was looking for, but it wasn't that.
It wasn't a fox.
And another thing I was really into is mythology and different creatures, mythical creatures. And then I was thinking of a dragon, and then I also was like, but there's sirens too. And that's when me and Cutie kind of worked together and tried to mash up the two.
Yeah, and it looks so good. And tell us, so you said Cutie, because those who listen to the podcast who don't know Cutie, you maybe talk about Cutie, or like your experience working with her as a 2D modeler and rigger.
It was just, it was so good. And I made good friends with Cutie. I love her work, and I just support her 110%.
Yeah.
And I'd suggest her to anyone.
She's a wonderful artist. I first saw her work on, again, people listening, her name is Cutie Dragon. She's a really great artist and a really great 2D rigger. And this also brings up another point too. It's been really cool because VTuber stuff has really opened the market for a lot of artists. Like there's been a lot of opportunity for artists to make money now, that like in this area that they might not have before, with character design and rigging. It's very cool.
And another thing is, one of my friends that I met through my following is she was into graphic design. She was in college for that, and she didn't know what she was going to do with it. But now she has a reason, doing commissions for Live 2D and create models. But yeah, and she didn't think she was going to ever use it before VTubing became really a thing.
That's really, really cool. That's awesome to hear too. And I started as a graphic designer as well, so it's cool to hear that that's sort of like an unexpected path that kind of grew for her.
Right.
I love that.
I also have this character as a full body, which I can kind of show a little bit of.
Yes, so cute. I love like the different design on the thigh highs too. That's really nice.
Yes, I really love it a lot. And I love the tail and the detail and the shading. It's very beautiful.
So cool. So cool. Is there specific like fish that your character is based off of?
So we started with a koi fish.
Yeah.
That was the design we were gonna really go for. And then it just didn't kind of really work. That's when I was thinking, well, I could be some type of like fish, you know? Then me and Cutie were just kind of working with that and trying to figure out the species and what I could be.
Right. It can be challenging too. I know as an artist myself, and yourself too, you're also an artist, to be able to come up with new species or designs like that can be a big challenge.
And a lot of my struggles with art specifically is clothing.
Clothes
And
design.
you always preach Pinterest.
Pinterest. Yeah. Do you use Pinterest?
A few times I have.
You need to change that few times to all the time.
But yeah, that's kind of the design process for me and Cutie.
Yeah, I love the little ghost on the tie too. There's like a little ghost. It's so cute.
See, that was from an emoji. Like, I was like, can you put this somehow into my character?
Yes. I love it. I love it. I think the other cool thing too is like, man, I never set myself enough time to do this, but people do like, they get really festive with the seasons too. They'll wear like a whole Halloween outfit or something, or like, man, I'm like, guys, I don't have time to do this.
See, I really wanted to do something like that, where she has like winter clothes, summer clothes, things like that. And
yes.
I would love to do it.
It's the best. It gives us so much like creative freedom as artists and like as characters to display. I love it so much.
There's so much you can do with VTubing.
Absolutely. So continuing down our questions, is content creation something that you want to make a career, or is content creation a hobby for you, Sykana?
At the moment, it is a hobby, but I do want to make it a career someday. Like, if I got to the point that I could support myself off of it, I would love to do that.
And what do you think, what does that look like for you? What do you feel like are the steps you need to take to be able to go full time?
Just honestly learn as much as I can about Twitch, or if I possibly do YouTube or do multiple platforms. Like TikTok, I plan to start actually using and utilizing the discoverability on that as well. Because like, I've been watching you for 6 months, learning everything I possibly can.
Let's go.
And I think that also has a little bit of a reason why I've grown as much as I have.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that I can help you with that, Sykana. That really warms my heart to hear. And I'm really excited to hear about you getting on TikTok, because TikTok's such a good place, especially for VTubers right now. And especially if you have a really pretty design. That's like I think that's a really great step for you. And it's stuff that you can easily make just for fun, like following trends or whatever the case may be.
Right. And it's hard because sometimes you don't feel like you have the time to dedicate to different platforms, but in the end, that's kind of what you have to do in the beginning to be able to start yourself off.
That's incredibly relatable. I know what you mean, because I've gotten to a point where I'm like so controlling with my creative work that I hate handing it over to other people. Like, it drives me insane to like let other people do stuff that's involving like my creativity. So like hiring an editor for me is the hardest thing. And I've had a few editors actually, but hiring an editor is really difficult for me, because then I have to let go of that creative freedom. And that's like this kinds of stuff you need to start doing if you want to go full time, because you can't do it all yourself. Like you said, you don't have the time.
Yeah. Once you hit to a certain milestone, you're not going to be able to do a lot of things that you're able to do now. Like for me, I'm able to talk to everybody and learn everybody's names. Eventually, I'm not going to be able to do that.
Right.
And a lot of people expect you to.
They do. It's an unhealthy expectation, I think, from just from content, or from, what is the word I'm looking for, from followers. I think it's an unhealthy expectation for them, and I think a lot of pressure sometimes is put on the streamer or the content creator to be expected of them to like really have those connections with everybody. But it gets really hard. Like even when I started nearing around 20 to 30 people on Twitch, like 20 to 30 viewers, it was very hard for me to remember specific details about specific people unless they've been around for a really long time. Like Vox and Star Guardian artists have both been around for a pretty long time. Star later, Vox more so, but like Star's almost at every stream. So there's some people like you'll remember a lot about, but then it's hard because you feel bad. Like you said, you start to grow and you can't have that connection like you used to.
And I'm not gonna lie, there are people that have like told me their names and like expect me to remember, you know?
Yep.
And now that I'm growing as much as I have, it's getting scary to be able to grow as fast as I am, because I expected when I first started that I just wouldn't get there. I had a very negative mindset, I'm not gonna lie, and I just wasn't expecting too much, but I was hoping for it at the same time. When I did start to grow, like when the first stream, I remember Cutie was in there, then someone came in and they kind of supported me each and every day. Like, they went on a whole entire streak of being at my streams, and it really helped me to push forward. And once I got to, I think, 30 followers, that's when they kind of slowed down a little bit, but I still appreciate them because that's what really kicked me off to the point I was like, you know,
For
staying
sure.
there, being consistent, because I know that person was going to be there.
Yeah, I know, like, in the beginning too, so you said, like, people, you're afraid because it's hard for you to be able to remember all these people's names, right? You said you're kind of like nervous about that.
Right. And another thing is talking.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard for me to keep up with everybody alongside like online friends and everything. It's really hard.
Absolutely. I tried to explain to some people recently too, like, this'll get crazier as you grow too, because now, like, it's just this weird thing for me. Most of my life was online before I really started pursuing content creation, but when I started pursuing content creation and having like followers and people that look up to me now, I was explaining to a friend earlier that, like, my social batteries drain so quickly. Like, if somebody sends me a DM on Discord, I'm like like, I'm just like, I have to respond to this. I feel so bad, but like, my social batteries are always so drained because I respond to so many comments. So it's a really, like, there's some really tough, like, things to deal with mentally as you start growing as a creator. And it's interesting to me too that you're already feeling the weight of some of those things.
Yeah, since I didn't start off slow, really, not necessarily that slow. Like, maybe a few days where it was kind of at a point where I was at 10 followers, and then it started going to 50. Mm-hmm. I got it in a month, and that was very fast for me. I didn't expect it, and I wasn't prepared for it. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. I wasn't prepared for that because of my mentality in the first few days. I was like, oh, this is just going to be something that I try, and I didn't expect nothing from it.
Yeah, so do you feel like that negative mindset has switched now?
Yeah, I definitely think it has switched a lot. It's a lot better. I know that I am going to grow, and I just need to learn. I need to learn as much as I can. I need to make myself more discoverable than I am right now, because right now I'm just relying on Twitch. Mm-hmm. But I do plan on, like, different platforms.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's a really good step, and we've talked about this in a lot of the past episodes of the podcast. But yeah, guys, if you can put yourself out there on more platforms, especially not just Twitch, because Twitch is not a platform where you can get discovered. Like, you can to some extent. You'll be in people's recommendeds, and sometimes you'll be up in the list depending on what you're playing and how many viewers you have. But you need to get on other platforms if this is something you want to do as a career. And a lot of people don't realize that. They start as just like streamers, and they don't realize, like, they have to go on YouTube, TikTok. They need to be in these other places.
People have to be looking for you specifically, like a lower viewpoint, like 0 viewers or 1 viewer. They got to be looking for that to be able to find you. Yeah. People aren't going to go on, for instance, Minecraft. There's a ton of people streaming that, and they got to scroll down all the way to the bottom, and you're somewhere down there.
Unless they're looking for it.
Exactly.
Vox says, what is your favorite platform for discovery?
So I haven't.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I haven't really looked into anything, but I think TikTok would be my favorite thing because it's very easy to, like, take clips from your stream and just post it. Do a little bit of editing, like a 30-second video. It's not hard. Yeah,
I totally agree. I think it is a good place to at least start to see if you enjoy making that other types of content, because YouTube's a big deal. Like, YouTube can be a lot to take in when you're first starting. So again, yeah, I think that's a good answer. And Vox, to answer your question on my end, my favorite platform for discovery is definitely YouTube. I love YouTube. I eat, breathe, sleep, and live YouTube so much. It's just it's my favorite platform, hands down.
So I have a question for you, since you say that.
Sure.
So do you think it's easier on YouTube to get 50 followers than Twitch?
Ooh, like 50 subscribers?
Yes.
That's a good question. That'd be like an interesting experiment to run. Like streaming to see if you can get 50 followers. Like streaming for 3 days a week and maybe putting like a YouTube video. Well, 3 YouTube videos out a week though, compared to 3 Twitch streams would be kind of crazy. But like, that's I don't even know if I have an answer for that. I think it depends on the types of content you're making on YouTube, because if you're not making discoverable content on YouTube, then it doesn't matter. But for Twitch, I've seen a lot of people hit like 50 followers fast, but I'm so far away from that now. I don't know like how these people are being found. Does that make sense?
Well, that was a good question, Mike.
Yeah, no, that was a great question. because YouTube can be difficult, but I think if you make a video that's like valuable, I think you can get to 50 subscribers in no time. This did not. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So maybe possibly utilize what you had mentioned about that extension for Chrome.
TubeBuddy and vidIQ, or keywords everywhere.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. Sorry, I know all of them. I have a glossary. When you said that, I'm flipping through the glossary in my brain, like vidIQ, TubeBuddy, keywords everywhere. Yeah. No. I totally agree with you. See, TK said for me, Twitch was so much easier. See, that's interesting. TK, what did you stream? Would Silver says, would TikTok or YouTube be the best place to start branching out for people new to editing? I'd probably say TikTok because it's shorter content, so it's going to be shorter for you to edit. But with editing, you just need to like throw yourself in there. You just need to start going. Do you have an editing program, Silver? And Vita says, when it comes to branching out to different platforms, how do you decide what to post on each one? Branching out to different platforms, how do you decide to post? Okay, so this will be a good lesson too to help Sykana with everything. So wait, it's Sykana silent Y, right? Now I'm butchering your name. Also Ferret Phoenix Moon, welcome in. So when it comes to branching out to different platforms, how do you decide what to post on each one? So YouTube's the place where you should really be helping people as much as possible. So if you can provide any type of content that's going to help somebody solve a problem, that's what YouTube is best utilized for. I think TikTok, if you can do that, also great. So for YouTube, yeah, YouTube is more like educational. TikTok could be like random clips. You can post like ridiculous, like just health stuff, and it can get viewed. It still helps to post like quality content, but TikTok is like more chaos content, so it's not like that important what the content actually is as it is to be consistent, I think, with TikTok. And YouTube, again, I think the more like educational it can be, the better.
And I think another thing is do your research on the program that you're actually using.
Yes.
To edit.
Yeah, research is like a vital part of every single thing. Like any skill you guys decide to pick up in life, you should be researching, like learning more about it. Whether that's drawing, music, streaming. Like I didn't even know, like when I first started streaming, I didn't even know you could get better at streaming. I didn't even know that was a thing. And then I found like Stream Coach Academy and such. I didn't understand that concept was even real. I was just like streaming to stream when I first started.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I have had a mindset of I just kind of streamed whenever I scheduled it. Right. And there was a lot of times where I almost gave in to the instinct of streaming every single day. I know there's a lot of people that do. Sometimes it's because you have that time to, but sometimes people have the mindset of, oh, if I stream more, I will get discovered easier, like
False.
Streaming every single
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, streaming every single day. So like some people think that's like legit because like way back in the early Twitch meta, there wasn't a lot of people on Twitch. So it was pretty much whoever could stay longer on Twitch for like 12 hours or like 15 hours. That was like way when Twitch first started. But now we have like some different meta going on, which is needing to have discoverable content on things like YouTube and TikTok. So the streaming everyday mentality, it's not like, I understand where that comes from too. And I'm glad you quickly realized that to save yourself from the burnout.
Oh yeah. I would have quickly burnt out if I would have streamed every single day, because that's a lot of time you're putting into Twitch when you could be putting it into something else.
Yes, I agree. And people, that's a thing that like people are preaching a lot of like my mentors and stuff. They're like, streaming is good to an extent, but there's times where like you need to be stopped streaming as much and like be posting on YouTube or TikTok or somewhere else, because that time is much better invested into something else other than Twitch. Like especially once you get to a certain point, like my point.
I agree. And another thing is you got to put time for yourself as well, where you take a break from maybe one day a week where you take a break from everything and just kind of focus on your mental health. That way you don't burn out from streaming so much or doing all these things. And another thing is people go into the rabbit hole of Twitch and learning like all these things, but they don't take action and actually utilize that information.
Oh, you just pointed out such a valuable point. We get sucked into the rabbit hole, and this goes for more than just Twitch. I know a bunch of y'all are out there. You get addicted to just learning about the thing, but then you never actually do the thing, or you hype yourself up and you like trick yourself. You almost like start this illusion of thinking that you're doing the work by like watching the work, but you need to get started and actually do the thing. That's a really valuable point, Sykana.
My motto is actions speak louder than words.
Mm-hmm.
You can say that you're going to stream, but then you don't, you know?
Absolutely, and there's a lot of people too. Especially in the VTuber industry, there's so many people that are like stuck in this debut phase where they're all like planning all these things, and then you never see them even make it like past debut because they like ramp it up and then they're so scared to start stream. And I feel sorry for them, but at the same time, like people make it like way bigger out to be than it is. It's like, bro, you just gotta start. You just gotta do the thing.
Yeah, and then that's pretty much what I did. I just kind of was like, you know what, I'm gonna start and see what happens. And
Absolutely.
I'm here a month later and already reached affiliate because I
Right.
just decided one day to just start and not worry about everything at
Right.
once.
And that's such a powerful lesson too, is to just start. Like I'm just gonna go for it. There is no right time, guys. There is no right time to click start stream. There is no right time to click that first upload on your YouTube video. They always say, my favorite saying, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday, but the next best time to plant a tree is today or tomorrow. But today, preferably.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that cool? That's a great quote.
Yes.
Yeah, and that so speaks truly to what you said. And I'm glad you didn't let that phase like stop you from just going for it. And that's really, really cool to see. I've seen you grow from just so much, from joining our community to be like, I want to do this too. And now here you are. And it's just it's magical.
And it's kind of to answer one of the questions I just seen about how do you get over anxiety for streaming.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the reason why I don't have as much anxiety is, well, because I'm not on camera. I'm not
Right.
I'm using a model to be able to help that. And I took the time of getting used to speaking to others, like in the Discord where I go into voice chat and I speak to multiple people, and I used to not be able to do that.
Yeah, that's really powerful too. Again, it's about the baby steps. It's about 1% every day. You don't need to be like a public speaking expert like tomorrow. It's like you can take those baby steps.
And it's hard sometimes because your anxiety does sometimes take over, but don't let it affect you and make you not want to do anything.
Right. Don't let it control your life. It's okay for it to be there and to like affect you, but don't let it be the thing that makes the decision for you.
Right.
Mm-hmm. TK says, I stream various things, but Dual Links was probably what did it. The super quick YouTube. I'm still only about halfway to 50 subs. I put so much more time, effort, and energy into it. Yeah, a lot of people feel that with YouTube. TK, you're not alone. There's a lot of people that put so much time into YouTube and they'll feel like it's such a waste of time because they spend like 8 hours on like a half an hour recording video. They spend like 8 hours editing it and they're like, bro, and it's not getting any views or it's not getting the thing. And that's when it goes back to learning about how YouTube works and like what the YouTube algorithm is. Silver says, been trying to find the best editing software lately, but can't decide which one to try and learn how to use. Silver, I would highly recommend DaVinci Resolve. It's free and it's an amazing program.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I've dabbled into it. I've looked into some research about it, and I could link some videos that I've seen about it in the Discord later on.
Mm-hmm.
That could really help you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sykana.
It's no problem.
Our next question is, tell us about your background and how being a content creator has personally changed your life.
So I came from a background that was a very negative one, and I kind of relate to Syafire a lot. There was a lot of people that didn't believe that YouTube or Twitch or anything related to the internet can be a career. And that really made my mindset where it was when I first started. And when I started to grow, that's when it kind of drastically changed how I felt about it, and it made me happier. I felt like I was doing something I really wanted to do, since for several years I wanted to do streaming. I just couldn't because my laptop couldn't handle certain things, and I tried multiple times to problem solve. That's another thing. And it was hard. There was games that I played that I streamed a little bit, but I didn't have a model or anything, which you don't need one. You can just be a PNG, or you can just have your game up or whatever you may be doing and try to kind of problem solve your situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I just like, I'm just so proud because, like I said, you've grown so much, and despite like the negativity that you've grown up in, especially, and I know a lot of everyone listening to the VTuber Voices podcast can relate to this, is that like our family members just don't understand like the creator economy. They don't understand like the future of the internet and the way it's going, about how lots of people, this is like literally their job. This is legitimately their job, and they don't get it. And it's so frustrating to me because it's so ignorant of like these people, our parents especially, to not support our dreams and to support who we want to be in our life. Because number one, as a parent, in my opinion, like you need to be supporting your child's dream, of course, as long as it's not something like that's really bad or terrible. Yeah. But if there's something they want to do, you should be able to support them and help them get to that point, and make an effort to understand what it is and how it's working, and not just be like, nope, that's not gonna work, you can't do that. Like, what is that mentality?
And it's hard living like that, being able to continue doing, no matter like whoever says anything about it. Sometimes it can be really difficult to actually do it for yourself. That makes it 10 times worse. And then you decide, some people will decide that they don't want to do it because someone else told them not to.
Right. You pose a very good point. And we don't want to give our life over to others, or like let them control the decisions we make because of how they feel. And it's very hard, like especially when it's your parents that aren't backing you up, or like people that are close to you, like best friends or people in your family. And I've gotten people commenting on my videos all the time, like I want to start VTubing, Syafire, but I don't know how to start because like my friends think it's dumb and like they make fun of me. And I'm like, that's terrible. Like, we want to be surrounding ourselves by people who are going to support us and champion us and help us go along with these passions and these things that we want to start.
And you know what happens to those people that do think negatively? They'll come back around when you're with a 1,000 people watching you at the same time.
Right.
And they'll be like, oh, this actually worked, you know? And they didn't think so because you were small.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. And I, like, for the longest time too, personally, I would even like continue to surround myself by friends or people who didn't like fully believe in what I was doing. And that's like, that's your reality. If you're surrounded by people like that, that's the only way you know. You just think that everybody's negative, and like you think you're the problem, and you think you're like, there must be something wrong with me, and you turn it in on yourself. And that's what those people do, and you don't want to turn it on yourself, because there are people out there who are going to support you and who are following the same dreams and passions as you. And that's why we talk about the importance of community and why it's so great to be able to cultivate a place where people feel like they can be themselves, or they can grow, and that nothing's going to hold them back.
Yeah. Surround yourself with a community like Syafires. Oh. I've met multiple people. I've made friends with multiple streamers that support me 110%, and that also helps. Just making friends and communicating with different people in different communities, that's going to really help you mentally, and you'll be able to talk to them about like situations you may be in, like you're struggling, and they will understand you.
Totally agree. What is your favorite part about being a VTuber, Sykana?
Being able to be creative, and like with 3D, I think I'm going to really be able to kind of shine in my own way.
Yay!
Because I do a lot of Blender, like assets and things. I was designing a bedroom with a friend of mine who is also a follower. Me and her were kind of going through designs and what we could do and adding little details. And it's really fun to be able to do something like that. And I want to put it into a 3D bedroom or whatever it may be.
That's so cool. And think about continuing down this path where you'll be like several years from now if you just keep like building onto it.
Yeah, and then looking back on a VOD, and like if you have it on YouTube.
yeah, absolutely. I've been wanting to, I still haven't gotten around to it. I talked about this in our episode with Fia too, but I want to write a Dear Future Me, like, type YouTube video. Mr. Beast did it. He did it, and it was like a 5-year thing. And I really want to write a Dear Future Me, because it's incredible to be able to look back on where you've come from.
That's what I want to do. I want to be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
I think so I've talked to you about it before.
Next is, what is your least favorite part about being a VTuber? What do you despise?
It has not happened to me yet, but face reveals. I can't. I can't.
Oh, man.
And the pressure that goes with it. I think that's my least favorite thing.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody should be pressured. I really, really am like disgusted by the stuff that surrounds like the face reveal culture. You shouldn't be expected to show your face. A part of being, especially being a VTuber, a part of being a VTuber or a faceless YouTuber is that you're not showing your face because either A, you're not comfortable, B, you want privacy, C, any other reason. And I totally agree with you. So do you feel like some sort of pressure like you would have to do a face reveal?
I think at some point there is going to be a situation like that where it's going to be me debating with myself of whether I want to do something like that. And you've gone through that in a month ago, I think, 2 months ago.
Yeah, a month or two ago.
It's going to be hard and that's going to be when your support system comes in,
Yes.
to help you with it.
Yes, I totally agree. I remember having so many conversations with like my friends that were closer to me, like through stream and stuff. I was like, I don't know. Like, do I want to put my face in my YouTube content? Do I want to? I still struggle with it today. I haven't really come to a full resolution with how I feel about it because I still somewhat feel like uncomfortable sharing my face on camera and like all across the internet. But there's also parts of me that like wants to make it more personable and like just get over that. But I'm not like, I'm gonna be honest. I blame a lot of that on my gender. I think like being a female content creator really like I wouldn't be as like scared about it, I think, if I was a guy.
Yeah. And then the thing is, you want to make sure that it's what you want to do, not because of someone else.
Not giving into the pressures, right? Because you can't take that back either. Like once you share your face, like people know.
Yeah. And people will bring back like
Yes.
maybe a VOD and be like, oh, this is what they look like. And then everybody else that's new knows about it too. You can't take it back.
Right. Yep. And I like before I became really a VTuber, I stream mostly with my face on Facecam. And I talked about this a little, like now when I go back on camera, I have a lot of anxiety that I didn't used to have because now I'm like used to being a virtual character. So it's been a very weird thing for me to like be able to deal with as a content creator. I feel like true followers understand that you're a VTuber and will respect your privacy and choice. People who ask, I believe, are just asking as a joke. Yeah, like more like the meme culture around it, Vita. That's a good point. Like people are just like, oh, man, do a face reveal. yeah, I agree with Vita.
Sometimes people can be just curious, but it's when the curiosity gets to be too much, like asking and
like causing other people issues. Yeah. Star Guardian Artist says, God's honest, I never given the face reveal thing a second thought. To me, if the content creator wants to show their face eventually, that's great, but if they don't ever want to, then that's fine. Their content will still be great to me either way. I agree with you, Star Guardian, but sadly not everybody is cool as you. Is as cool as you. Like people are really selfish when it comes to being on the internet, especially like the whole parasocial relationship thing where people like they have this parasocial relationship thing and they want to know what you look like because they can like romantically see themselves. It's really messed up. It can get really crazy. It's a huge thing. And like I said, I don't even know like if I'm fully comfortable, but I'm just doing what I'm doing at this point.
Yeah, and you just got to do you. You can't just do something just because someone else, like I've said.
Yeah, and Star said Iron Mouse's content, I like Iron Mouse's content, and she basically said she'll never do a face reveal. Does this make her content any less enjoyable for me? Of course not, right. Again, I think it's mostly kids too that are like say the whole like face reveal thing. It's like realizing that audience too is probably not your ideal audience if that's what they're asking for.
And with VTubing, since you can't really show your face with a VTuber model, you got to rely on your personality and entertainment because you do have sometimes limitations. Not everybody has face tracking or hand tracking, things like that, to be able to express themselves.
Yeah, that brings up a great point too. And I think that goes back to the like visuals are great, but content is king. Like if you are able to provide good content, like despite what kind of avatar you have, then you're doing a good job. My next question for you is, and we kind of touched on this a little bit, but are you interested in making content on YouTube? And if so, what kinds of content would you like to make there?
See, that's really hard because I think when I do start YouTube, I'm just going to kind of pull in whatever I decide to do until I decide on something that really sticks.
Yes.
Like experimenting, because that's the most important thing. You want to make sure you're enjoying yourself in the content. Because if you're not enjoying it, then nobody else will either.
Yeah, I agree. And so many people like have such a hard time finding like that passion or that thing they want to share, which I didn't realize is like such a big issue because I've always been a passionate person. I've always been somebody who naturally like just loves things and wants to share it. And a lot of people like they're like kind of unsure, and that's okay. But as long as you end up doing something like you said, Sykana, that you do enjoy, because if you end up choosing something you don't enjoy, that's going to be really, really disastrous.
People are going to notice. People are very observant. They can see every little thing. Like if something's off with your voice, they will know, like if you're sick or if you're just not feeling it. Everybody, it's really hard. It's a lot of pressure for the streamer or the content creator to be able to be hyped up all the time.
Yeah, it's so much pressure. I remember so many times where there'll be days like where I just show up still to stream, but like I'm not like fully there mentally, or I'm kind of having a rough day, and it's like the last thing you need to hear is somebody being like, yo, are you okay? like usually it's like, can you just not pry right now? And it's like it can be very, very difficult, and people don't realize that content creators are people too. I think there was like this thing where Ninja, a very popular streamer, where Ninja ended up like accidentally streaming when he was like kind of having like a mini breakdown. Like he hit the go live button, he didn't realize he was live, and people are like, bro, is he okay? But again, it's like people don't realize like they're also a human being with emotions, and they can't always like be there and be full battery all the time.
Yeah, and it's a sad thing to see like break down because so much stuff is happening at once. And then on top of that, streaming at the same time. Sometimes you just can't.
Right. And there's this other clip I saw too that I was like, bro, preach. I was watching this clip and he's like, you guys don't realize how much you have to sacrifice to get to this point. I've sacrificed love. I've sacrificed relationships. I've sacrificed time with friends, with people. I've sacrificed, like, he just went on and on with like all the things he's sacrificed, like growing up and like doing not growing up because he didn't become popular till later, but like he's given up a lot to like pursue the things that he's doing.
Right. And Twitch is a very hard place to actually make a career. It's not like easy because you're relying on other people to help you.
And well, that's with so YouTube, scary.
It's a company that's paying you for whatever you may be doing.
Right. And that's why I think like when we talk about monetization strategies or ways to make money, I think it's so important to get sponsorships, because I think that puts a lot less pressure too. If you have a good relationship with a sponsor, then you like it's definitely better. It will make you feel better mentally at least, and like always depending on your community, because that could be really hard for people to always depend on their community to support them.
Yeah. And I think I will get to the point where it's going to be hard. If I was to decide that I want to be full-time streaming, it's going to be a really difficult decision, and it's got to be me making sure that I can actually do it.
Right, and that's when we go back to the like diversifying your content, diversifying your income. If you can diversify your income across sponsorships, ads, Google AdSense for YouTube, and then Twitch stuff, of course, gifted subs, people who are really generous and supporting, selling online products, things that can help people like an ebook or a digital course to be able to give back, but also be making money for it, because giving education, like so many people struggle with like selling products, but no, your knowledge and your education is something that is worth money, that people should be trading value for value. That's a healthy thing. You should not be giving everything away for free, like even though YouTube is free content. So like the best way, I think, especially like for your mindset when you start growing as a creator, is if you can diversify your income, so you're not depending at all on one place.
Right.
That's not even just content creation. That's life in general too, because you can get fired from your job any day, just like people can stop supporting you on Twitch. You get fired from your job any day, and that's why it makes me mad when you hear like parents or like unsupportive people like, oh, why don't you get a real job? Dude, you could get, there's nothing that guarantees like the job that you're doing now. Just as unstable as the internet is, so is whatever else you're doing.
Because you can make a mistake in a job. I've made a lot of mistakes where I forgot to turn off something, and I could get in a lot of trouble for that, and I could have lost my job. It's just so easy to lose a job like it is for Twitch. and
Yeah.
relying on other people's income.
Right. And even it could even be as simple as your whole career is over with Twitch if you say something wrong, especially when you start growing, because people expect you to have a certain stance on like certain topics, and you could say one thing and then somebody will tell you that's like extremely racist or like sexist or whatever the case may be, and then everything's done. Like everything's just over in a blink of an eye because you said one terrible thing, or not even a terrible thing, but just one questionable thing.
The internet is very dangerous when you gotta watch what you say.
Yeah.
Because once you say it, there's no going back.
No,
And
you can't
it will
come
be
back.
posted. It will be posted everywhere on the internet.
You can't roll it back.
If time travel was a thing.
Yeah, time travel is a thing. ... So, also, let me just catch up with chat here. Stargradient says, I don't like people that romanticize the face reveal. Like, even if you see the person's face and they are a most beautiful or most handsome person you ever met, and you're likely very far apart from each other, and the content creator still doesn't know who you are. So the odds of you getting a date with it is out of next to zero. Just use an actual dating site instead. Haha. I don't want to reveal my face one day for the specific reason. I don't want people like, this isn't what I was expecting. And most of the time you won't look like what people are expecting because they build up fantasies in their head of what you look like. It's crazy.
It's like a movie.
Yeah,
it's like a movie.
The book and the movie thing. The book and the movie thing. It's like reading the book and then seeing the movie.
That Twilight gift.
Yes, the Twilight gift. So good. Vita says, at what point do you think is the right move to start accepting or looking for sponsors? Ooh, I could take this one. Okay. Looking for sponsors, that's really, really difficult. I didn't start looking for sponsors until I hit 10K on YouTube. That was like you can look earlier. There's definitely people who will offer you sponsorships earlier. It depends on the kind of content you're making, Vita, and like if the sponsor can align with what you're doing. So I waited till 10K because that was just like a personal thing for me. I kind of grew so fast on YouTube too, and I was more concerned about making more YouTube content before getting a sponsor because the way the pacing was going for me. I'd say like there's lots of people who even get sponsors at like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so it really depends on like your niche. No, yeah, but Vita, continuing answering your question, for sponsorships, there's something called a marketing deck and a stream deck that you can put together that basically talks about like what your expertise are. I'll have to show you guys one of these streams. I'll show you my marketing deck. I've showed some of y'all already, but it basically talks about your stats, what you are, who you like, how, and basically how you can help. Reach out to companies that align with what you're doing. Like I reached out already to a bunch of tablet companies. I got denied a bunch, but I'm going to be sending it to them again. Probably like once I hit 20K or something. And then I did get my first sponsor though. I got my first sponsor, which is a big hype. And I don't know if I should say it in this stream because I'm like, or in this podcast because I don't want to be given like free sponsorship time to them. No, but I'll mention their name. So it's 512 Audio. They're a child company to a company called Warm Audio, and they're going to be sending me a mic. I'm going to be doing a YouTube video review on my channel. They're sending me a mic, so that's big hype. I'm big pumped.
I still think it's pretty funny that it's an audio company.
Especially because Sykana and I joke because my audio is always so cursed. You guys have heard some podcasts being super duper off because I'm just cursed with audio, but we got this. So sponsorships, I think there's no like right or wrong time. If you think like you can make valuable content and be able to support that sponsor, I just say go for it, Vita. Star says, if this is too personal of a question when you don't have to answer it, but I'm wondering, as a female content creator, do you also worry how much of the praise you get for your content's actually praise or just people pretending to be nice for sus reasons? You can go first, Sai.
Yeah, I think maybe sometimes there's so many people like that, and you're always going to have that one person that is like that, and they aren't very genuine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like for females again too, it's like there's this weird like relationship of you being like, people like fall for the female streamer, like they think they can be with them romantically or something. Like there's like a really weird, like there's a really odd dynamic, I'm telling you. That's why it's like it can be really difficult for female content creators.
And sometimes it could happen to male content creators.
Yeah, absolutely. Both ways.
But most of the time it is females that struggle with it the most.
Right, because they have like that motherly dynamic too, where people like want them to be like mothered by the streamer or something. It's very odd. Vox says, I think it's always a good idea to be observant when it comes to people and how they interact with you. Witch hunt culture is so messed up, and people should grow up and stop doing that and realize that people make mistakes and slip up sometimes, just like the people who are participating in the witch hunts. Yep, I agree. I don't understand why people just want to like crush someone's image if they do one thing wrong. All right, so next question is, what kinds of technology in VTuber Tech are you looking forward, or what do you hope will be added?
We always have that dream of full dive kind of thing.
Yes, let's go.
We always have that dream of that. And maybe one day it could happen. I know there's a lot of experiments happening with that. I've watched several videos on people testing things like that. So it's possible.
That is so...
Maybe one day.
I hope so. I hope so in our lifetime. And like, as far as, yes, I want full dive. As far as like smaller things, I really want to see hand tracking for 2D VTubers. That'd be hype.
Oh, yes.
I've seen some people figure it out. I don't know. Like, they don't really say much though.
Oh, I would love to see something like that.
It'd be really, really cool. I think we'll get there. We're just gonna wait on like a few devs. There's probably some devs working on that stuff right now, I bet.
There's so many things being worked on because VTubing is very popular.
Yes.
So it's bound to happen.
Research papers on full dive are being written up already. Are you serious, Ash? Also, welcome in. Let's go. Valve is working on it. Excuse me? Is there any like information out publicly about this yet, Ash? I will live in full dive box. We're gonna.
It would be so expensive.
Yeah, dude, think about the rich people. Rich people will legit let their body go into like coma mode and go like full body dive, and then just like live in the hospital and just have like their bills keep being paid to keep their body alive with like food tubes. That's nasty. That's so messed up. There's a few articles. Ooh, big hype. I'll have to. I really want to see those. Okay, so next question. We're about to get deep. You ready?
Yes.
What is your biggest fear with pursuing content creation as a career?
So I was actually trying to think of something, but I think it's a lot of financial kind of situations.
For sure. Being
able to financially support yourself and be able to like pay bills or do whatever you want to do. And sometimes it's a very scary thought.
I totally agree. It's especially, finances especially, because like we talked about earlier, a lot of everything is in the hands of other people for finances. And I mean, it can be for basic jobs too, but definitely more so with content creation. I think I agree with you with finances. I think my personal biggest fear with pursuing content as a career is just like the sustainability and like remaining relevant, because there's a lot of creators who like blow up or they like become known, but then they just fall off. Like there'll be someone who is getting like hundreds and thousands of views on like every video, and now they have over 1 million subscribers, but now they get like 5,000 views per video, which is still a lot, but like in the grand scheme of things, for that creator, that's really, really tough mentally. Like I don't know how people go through that.
And another thing could be like your social life.
Yes.
Outside of the internet, you're going to be putting 110% into content and making sure you're able to pay the bills next month. You're not going to be able to have that time to focus on friends outside of the internet.
Right. I've personally already sacrificed so much time for just like creating friendships and going to do things that are not on my PC just to continue doing content stuff, like missing. And that's why it's important again to surround yourself by like-minded people, because then you can make friends like while doing the types of work and like the stuff that you've been grinding on. But like if there's one thing like personally I've sacrificed the most with grinding skills, whether it be art or content creation, it's been friendships and like relationships. I just don't like it's just like, I hate to say it, but I don't have a lot of time for it in my life unless there are other people that are like on the same path as me. It's very difficult.
And even for me, before I started streaming, it's been a struggle to keep up with friendships. It's always been like that.
For sure. And some people too, like it is just like a more difficult thing for them. And then again, it just, I feel like it literally just increases as you become a content creator, especially like I said, your social batteries can get burned out so quick that you don't have any to give to anyone else, because you're streaming, you're always talking to people, you're answering comments, and then you have nothing left to give to other people. And
a friend of mine, she doesn't stream or anything. Me and her were hanging out one day and we talked so much to the point that her voice just kind of got tired and she couldn't speak anymore. She was like, I gotta go. I'm tired.
Yeah, I've been there. Like when I've done some 12-hour streams, my voice like be so raw. Even like shorter streams, my voice would just be so raw from talking. Have you experienced that yet?
Yeah, I have.
You can build up your tolerance.
I'm like talking almost constantly. There's a few times where I'm a little bit silent, and that's me kind of just collecting myself in my voice.
Yeah. Hi, Panda. Welcome. It's good to see you. Ash says it's mainly to do with interfacing our motor functions to game control, so the nerves and receptors we'd use to move naturally would become game controls and movement. That's so creepy. Cool. You said that's so cool, and I'm like, that's creepy.
It's cool creepy.
Oh my gosh. I have cough drop next to me. When I feel voice going, it helps a lot. Oh, Vita, that's a good idea.
Oh, that's
I love
smart.
that. And tea too. Like, tea's another really great, like, best friend of a streamer's.
I love green tea. I've tried that before.
Yum. Yes, let's go. Tea is the best ferret. All right, so next question is, was streaming how you expected it to be when you started? What lives up to what you imagined, and what is different?
Oh no, I expected nothing from it.
Like, you expected nobody to show up, right? Like, nothing.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, like maybe friends would show up, but I didn't expect people to find me because I was playing games that were very difficult to find unless you're finding that person, like looking for them. It lives up to what I imagined for as in hard work and a lot of time. You're dedicating hours into streaming, and it's something that I absolutely enjoy. I have a lot of fun with it, and I enjoy meeting new people now, and I just love talking to a lot of people.
So tell us a little bit about some of your hobbies. So like things that don't include VTubing. Like, what are other things that you enjoy doing?
I love to do art, and what else is there?
That's literally me. That's literally me. I'm like, oh, I like art. Nothing else exists. Okay, next question.
I love to decorate my room and kind of design it in my own way. But that's kind of like art.
Interior design. I like art and interior design and baking and statue making and yeah, all art related things. So so maybe tell us a little bit about art. When did you get started with drawing?
I started when I was about, I'd say 9 years old. My stepdad actually showed me like some of his drawings and everything.
Oh.
And I thought it was really cool. And so what I'd do is I'd take in a coloring book and a piece of paper, and I would just kind of sketch out like what I see, and I would kind of just do that kind of stuff.
That is some big brain 9-year-old drawing strats. Mark Burnett who? You're over here like, bro, you're like a 9-year-old on YouTube. I don't even know if you're allowed to do that. But you're like, yo guys, you're gonna pull out the coloring page and you're gonna try to copy what you see, and that's how you're gonna get better at art when you're 9 years old. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That's actually really cool though. So you saw art from somebody else in your family, and you're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and that's kind of where it started. I was like off and on with it, and then my stepdad was teaching me how to play guitar as well.
Yes. What? I never heard you play guitar.
See, I don't have one anymore. I used to. He had bought me
guitar.
one.
You sold your guitar for another coloring book. You're like, forget this guitar thing. I want to draw. It's my only hobby.
We lost it in the storage that we had, and I had moved all the way down to the south, and so we lost the storage and all the stuff that I had.
No.
But I was like very into music when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I loved to dance. I loved to sing. I loved to play instruments. I was just very into it.
Do you see yourself picking music back up?
Possibly. I'm like very self-conscious when it comes to like an audience or anything like that. And I remember a friend of mine, she wanted to hear me sing, and
no, here we go.
It was back in middle school, and she always bugged me about it, and I was like, I don't know if I will. And I went to her house one day, and she caught me.
She caught you singing?
Yeah, she was in the bathroom at first, and then she walked into the room, and I was just kind of having a headset on, and I was just singing to myself.
Oh my gosh, I know what you mean. I have some like heavy performance anxiety too. I hope I can get over it eventually, because I would really like to play open mics with my mom. That'd be fun.
that would be so fun to do.
I know, right? Frick my performance anxiety, sadly.
And when I was in third grade, we had a talent show that I was gonna be in.
Whoa.
And it was for dancing. It was a song from Katy Perry, I believe.
What song?
Roar, I think it
was. Can you hear me roar? Let's go.
And it was from a Just Dance kind of thing. So we were learning from that. And we were learning all that. And then I was kicked out of it.
No, you were kicked out. They're like, yo, she's too good. She can't be here. She's going to make the other kids feel bad.
I think it was because of my grades or something. And they just, a teacher was just like, yeah, no.
No, that's not the real reason. They were too afraid that you were just too good for them.
Too good.
You're too good. So if you could learn any instrument, what instrument would you learn? Like if you could pick one up and master any instrument.
To get better at, probably guitar. I really enjoyed that when I was playing it. And
acoustic
I played
or electric?
clarinet. Acoustic.
Yeah. Let's go. You said at clarinet?
Yeah. I played clarinet back in school as well.
Me too. Yo, we could have been sitting next to each other playing clarinets. Let's go.
Yes. Hot cross buns.
Dude, don't even mention the name of that song to me. Beep, 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 beep. I was probably way off key. I can't even hear myself right now. All right. Okay, cool. So I have one more question for you, unless anybody else in chat has anything to ask. What are your future plans for VTubing and for your channel? Do you have any long-term business goals? Where do you see all this going?
So I've been thinking about, since I was going to get a 3D model, of getting VR equipment and hopefully getting that at some point. It's very expensive.
Very.
But that's something that I have as a long-term goal. A tablet that I really want to get, hopefully. That's another thing. Mm-hmm. And hopefully at some point I really want to do art streams and things like that, because I like to see my process, go back and kind of observe what I do. So that would be interesting.
For sure. I think you'd really enjoy the art category on Twitch. The art category is the bomb. I love everybody over here. Underrated, to be honest. Most underrated category on Twitch.
Yeah, and it's very wholesome.
Yeah.
Every single person that you've rated is just so wholesome.
They're really cool. It's just such a good vibe. It's because we're all artists. We all know the struggle. Awesome.
Content is all about experimenting.
Oh my gosh, especially when you start.
And another thing, people think that you need all this equipment right when you start.
Right.
The thing is, there's so many free programs that you could use to your advantage. That way you can see if it's what you want. Because if you buy all this equipment, for instance, maybe $3,000 worth of equipment, and you start streaming, and then you're one day, I don't want to do this anymore. Now you got all this equipment that you don't need.
Right. I think people put way too much pressure on the amount of equipment you should have, and you really don't need anything to get started. That should be stuff that you work towards.
Yeah. And yesterday, I was saying that I really wanted to get emotes. I don't want to take from a paycheck that I make with my actual job. I want to be able to have it come from Twitch. So I'm kind of taking my time with it, making sure that if I do get emotes from someone else, it's covered by Twitch.
Exactly. And that's a great way to circulate your money when you're starting a business, is to use it on business expenses to go back, to funnel back into the business. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, guys, please make sure you check out Sykana. Sykana, if people want to find you, where can they find you?
So you can find me on YouTube, here on Twitch, and hopefully TikTok once I start.
Yes, the incentive.
I'm gonna hopefully at least once a week touch on different platforms.
Yes, awesome. That's great to hear. And do you have any closing remarks, closing words for our audience? Just
keep being yourself. All of you are wonderful.
Yes, wonderful beans. You cannot forget beans.
Yes. Beans. Gem beans.
Jeans. Jeans. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the VTuber Voices podcast. Sykana was an amazing guest, lots of really great conversations, super deep and insightful, and just so many good nuggets of wisdom in this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you on next week's episode.